everyone, myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CAC, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Now, let us discuss today what is pointers in C and execute a number of programs using pointer concepts. So, let us begin with the definition of a pointer. Now, coming to introduction to pointers, pointers are special type of variables which are used to store the addresses rather than the values. So, whenever you want to store the address of another data type or another variable, then go for pointers. Pointers are represented by the indirection operator star, and pointers, if you are using, then you are directly dealing with the memory addresses. So, faster processing of the programming will be done. Generally, pointers are popularly used in low-level programming, that is, writing the programs for compilers, assemblers, loaders, linkers, text editors, and so on. So the concept of pointers is very useful in making these kind of softwares. So how to declare a pointer? Now the pointers are of two types. One is called generalized pointers. One is called specialized pointers. Now when the pointer has no data type, not a particular data type, that means if you are writing, so one is called generalized pointers and specialized pointers. When you write a pointer, when you declare a pointer as of type void, that means this is called a generic pointer or generalized pointer. But whenever you write a pointer of type integer or type character or float, then those are called specialized pointers. That means these specialized pointers are used to hold the address of an integer or character or float, but a void pointer is a generic pointer which can hold the address of any other type of variable. So, whenever you are using a void pointer or a generalized pointer, then there is a process of doing typecasting whenever you are using to store the address of an integer or character or float and so on. Now, we can declare a pointer p using the syntax your int star p. So, the star indicates that this particular variable is not going to store an integer value, but it is going to store the address of an integer. Similarly, you can write int star p1 comma p2. Here p2 is a simple variable which will store a value inside it, whereas p1 is a pointer type variable which will store the address of another variable. Now, example you can see int star pc comma c. C is a simple variable whereas pc is a pointer variable. Now, c contains a value directly inside it, that is 5, but the pc is a pointer which contains the address of c. So, indirectly pc points to that value 5 only, but it contains an address. pc holds an address whereas c holds an value. Now, coming to the pointer declaration, the syntax you have to follow is data type followed by the name of the pointer you have to write. Now, you can see ptr1 is an integer pointer. Similarly, ptr2 is a float pointer. ptr3 is a character pointer and so on. Similarly, if you want to store a number of addresses of various integers or various characters, then you have to go for an array of pointer concepts. Normally, if you declare an array, we can store a collection of elements of similar type. That is the definition of array. Similarly, if you are declaring an array of pointers, then we can store a number of addresses inside it. So how to declare? Let us see int star a of 5. So here a is an array of 5 integer pointers. That means it can store the address of 5 integers. Next is called function pointer example. So in your program, you can write or declare and write a number of user defined functions. So whenever you want to store the address of the function and through its address you want to call the function and work with the function, then you have to declare a function pointer. So the function pointer will have the similar type of prototype for pointer declaration also. So here you can see here int star f f is a function pointer and with no argument. That means f is a function pointer which can store the address of a function, and that function takes no arguments and returns an integer type of data. So whatever is the type of function you are using, with argument or without argument, or with return type or without return type, in the similar manner you have to declare the same type of pointer also. So this is called a function pointer. Now next is called pointer to an array. Suppose you have an array whose address you want to store in a pointer. So you can declare, so int star p of size 3. So where p is a pointer to an integer array whose size is 3. Okay. Normally pointers are used to hold the address of a function or a simple variables or array. So here this is called a pointer to an array. So whose size is 3. Next is called constant pointer. Constant pointer is nothing but which always points to the same location. So pointers are normally variables. That means it can hold the address of different types of variables. But whenever you make the pointer to be constant, it always points to the same location. So use the keyword constant over here. Int star constant of p. That means the pointer p holds an address of a fixed location. So the address in the pointer is always to the same location. Now next is called pointer to a constant integer. Pointer to a constant integer means here you have to write constant int star p. That means p is a pointer pointing to a constant integer. So the value is constant. You cannot modify the value of the integer which is a constant whose address is contained by this pointer. Next is called generic pointer declaration. So for generic pointer declaration, we write void star p. So p is a generic or void pointer. That means which can point to any type of address. So which has no particular type. You can typecast it and store the address of other variables. Now next, what are the different types of pointers we use? We use pointers as single pointers, double pointer or pointer to pointer, the triple pointer and so on. We can also use multi pointers. So the difference is whenever you declare a single pointer, one star will be preceding before the variable name. If you are using double pointer or pointer to pointer, two stars will be there. So which is one level of indirection increases. Similarly, when the level of indirection you want to increase, then you can go for triple pointer, fourth pointer and so on. That is up to n pointers or multi-pointer concept. Next, what is the difference between or relation between pointers and arrays? Arrays by default holds its own address. That means arrays also works as pointers. So suppose consider one array here, int x of 4. Now here x of 0, 1, 2 and 3 contains some different values. Suppose let us take 15, 25, minus 10 and 60. Now here what is the address of x? What is the address of x? That is the starting address. Similarly, what is the address of x of 0? If you will talk about the starting address and the address of the 0th element in the array are both same, which refers to the same address. So address of x of 0 is equivalent to x, and if you want to write down a pointer, then x of 0 is equivalent. It is same as star x also. So the same array name can be interchangeably used as a pointer and also an array. So how to write? If you want to specify that ampersand x of 1, that means I am referring to the address of the first element in the array. So which is equivalent to, if you are using a pointer, you can write, if x is a pointer, then you can also write x plus 1 if x is a pointer. Similarly, if you want to refer to the value, x of 1 refers to value over here. So which is same as star x plus 1, because x plus 1 refers to the address. Star x plus 1 means it refers to the value in that address. Next, similarly, ampersand x of 2 refers to address. It refers to address of second element, which is same as writing x plus 2, where x contains the starting address plus offset 2. That means it is same as the address of the second element. Now, if you want to refer to the value, x of 2 refers to the value. So, value in the second position, which is nothing but minus 10. So, in pointer, you can also write your star x plus 2. X plus 2 refers to an address. Star x plus 2 means value in that address. So, this is the way it can be written. This is the relationship between pointers and arrays. Now, let us understand few tips while using pointers. Suppose if I want to display the element which is there at the ith index, how should I write? I can write printf percentile d a of I. That means the value which is there at the ith index of the array A will be printed. Now, if you will write I of A percentile D to print the integer which is there at I of A, this will also print the same element. So, here you need to understand A of I is same as I of A. This is allowed in C language. Next, you can also write, if you are writing as percentile D A plus I, this will print the address of array elements. So, if I is equal to 0, it will print the address of 0th element. Similarly, if we put a preceding star before it, then it will print A plus I refers to an address. Star A plus I refers to the value in that address. So, this will print the value of the array element at ith index. Next, if you are writing simply star A, this will, A refers to the starting address always. So, star A will print the value which is there at the beginning, that is which is there at the A of 0th index. Now, you can always do increment decrement operations on variables. So, pre-increment, post-increment or pre-decrement, post-decrement, how you are doing with simple variables, you can also do with arrays. So, you can, if you are writing A++, then A++ when you write, then we cannot change the base address. So, you have to be careful. But addresses you can change it, but not in this way. So, A contains the starting address. A++ when you will do, you will get compile time error. Now, pointer to multidimensional arrays. Multidimensional arrays are represented by A of ij, which is nothing but a two-dimensional array, for example. So, A of ij represents a two-dimensional array where this is I and this is j. A refers to the number of rows and j refers to number of columns. Similarly, you can also write A of ijk, so which is nothing but a three-dimensional array. So, name of the array always contains its base address. So, what is the address of A is same as you can write A of 0 plus 0 will give you the base address. Okay, and A of 0, 0 will give you the value in that address. So, at 0th row, 0th column, what is the value in that address, you will get it. Okay, same thing, if you want to print the value, you can also write star A plus 0, which will also give you the value. So, A plus 0, 0th row, 0th column, this refers to the address in that array. So, if you put a star before it, that means it refers to the value in that address. Okay, so the generalized form, if you are using the pointers for multidimensional array, for a two-dimensional array, then you have to write the star of A plus I plus j. So, which is same as A of ij. So, if you want to refer a particular value at particular row number and column number, then you can write like this. Next comes to array of pointers. Suppose there is a character array containing 3 names. That means char star name of 3, which is nothing but it contains the address of an array which contains 3 different strings. So, suppose these are the 3 different strings. Now, how to write this without using pointers? That means we are writing a two-dimensional array where we are telling that in the first row there is a name. So, name of 0 and size 20 will contain the name Adam. Similarly, name of first row and the 20 size contains Chris, and so on. So you can see over here, if you will represent using a matrix, then this is 0, 0th row, first row, second row, 0th column, first, second, third, this will go up to 20. So this is without using pointer concept. With using pointer concept, if you talk about, then there are three different strings. Okay, the address of those strings are available in this array. Next, how to use pointers as function arguments. So, a pointer as a function parameter is used to hold the address of the arguments passed during function call. This is also known as call by reference mechanism. Now, when a function is called by reference, any changes that you make to the reference variable will reflect the original variable. So, pointers can also be used as function arguments. So, you can pass the function arguments by value or by its address. So, whenever you are passing by address or by reference, then pointers are used. Next concept is pointer to functions. It is always possible that you can declare a pointer pointing to a function which can hold its address, okay, and which whatever the arguments are there, the function can be called by another function also. So you can see here type followed by pointer name and parameters. Suppose I have a function int function is there which takes two integer arguments int comma int. I want to store the address of this function. This function is doing some task. Okay. Now, this function, int comma int. This is the structure. Then we have written the definition which contains a number of statements. So, in memory, whenever you declare this function will have a starting address or base address. And if you want to store that base address in a pointer, which is called pointer to a function, and then through pointer you want to carry out the operations, then it is possible. Then how will you declare? Then in that case you have to declare int that star ptr or star function pointer you can take, then followed by takes two arguments, so you have to write int comma int. You can see over here sum is a function which takes two integer arguments and returns integer. So, if you want to store its address, then you have to follow the same structure while creating a pointer also. So, you have to write int star s is a pointer and which takes two arguments. So, structure must be same. Now, how to store its address? By simply writing s is equal to sum. So, the address of the function sum will be stored into the pointer s. Now, let us move on to our dev C++ compiler and execute a number of programs. Now, we have opened our dev C++ compiler. Let us execute. The first program that we are going to write is display the address of various library functions. So, in our C program, we use a number of library functions which are available in different header files. So, let us see what is the address of those functions using pointer. So, begin with the header file #include stdio.h int main and return 0. So, structure of the program we have written, followed by let us declare a pointer to function and let us use it. So, I am going for a generic pointer over here. Int star p is a generic pointer and I am going to call a function. So, void star p, which is a generic pointer over here. Now, whenever you want to print its address, let us store the address of that function. So, this which is a Here it is a generic pointer. Now, what we will do, suppose I want to know where my print function is available. So, I'll write P is equal to printf. Then, print its address. Address of printf function is percentile U. You can write unsigned. So, addresses are never negative. So, you can write percentile U followed by P. Now, let us check the address. So, save the program. Address of library functions. Now, change this to .c file and save. Let us compile and run this program. So, you can see over here, the address of the printf function, it is showing. Now, let us move on to check with the other functions. Now, let me copy paste these two lines and let us check for the other functions. Now, let me store into the same generic pointer the address of scanf and write here the address of scanf here. Similarly, I can go for another function. Suppose I want to see the address of your sqrt function. Then I can write here sqrt. Sqrt comes under math.h. So you need to include the header file here. Now similarly, I want to see the address of my main function. In your program, always main is a function. So what is the address where main function is stored? Let us check all this. Okay. So I have written for 3-4 functions. I have stored the address of those functions into my generic pointer and then I'm printing. Now as I have used one sqrt function, so write #include math.h, otherwise you will get error. So now compile and run. Now you can have a look. You can see the address of various library functions. Main is not a library function, but printf, scanf, sqrt, these functions addresses where it is exactly available in memory that you are getting. So you can copy paste this output and print in your paste your output in your program. So this is one of the simplest way to find the address of various built-in functions. Now let us move on to next program that read a string and print it in reverse order using pointers. Now how to print the string in reverse order using pointer, let us see. So #include stdio.h header file, then write down the structure of the main program or main function. Okay. Now, first of all, we have to read a string and store it into an array. So character str of 1 contains, or str up size, let us take 50. Then I need to store its address. So I have to declare one character pointer. So star ptr is the pointer. Now, before reversing the string, first of all read a string by writing printf, enter a string. Use the getString function to read a string. So just pass to the getString function the name of the array. So the string will be read and stored into the character array str of 1. So my string reading part is over. Now how to print the reverse? So for printing the reverse, first we have to go to the end of the string after going to the end of the string, we have to print the characters in reverse order. So we have taken this pointer PTR. PTR is equal to the starting address. STR always contains, the array always contains its base address. So base address plus strlen of string length you find out for this string and do strlen of -1. Because the last character always contains the null character. So we have to get the address of the last character. So that's why we have done a string length -1. Okay. As the index also starts from 0. So now PTR contains the address of the last character. So let us write while the pointer is greater than equal to the address. So pointer PTR contains the address of the last character. So obviously it will be always greater than the address of the first character. STR contains the starting address, that is the address of the 0th character. PTR contains the address of the last character. So the PTR contains, the address in PTR is bigger than the address of the STR. So now you have to print the character percentile C, comma, print the characters. So star PTR. Okay. So the last character will be printed. Now decrement the pointer PTR -. So it will contain now the address of its previous character. Again the loop will run. So this process will go on till it reaches to the address of the first character. So as we are going in the reverse order, reverse of the string will be displayed on your screen. Now we have used over here strlen function. So add the string.h header file. Let us save this program. This is reverse string using pointers .c. Now compile and run this code. Now what is the error you are getting? str1. So because our array name is str, so let us remove this, save it and run it again. Now the program has no compilation error. It is working perfectly. Let us check with a test case. Enter a string. Suppose the string is welcome to IARE. Now you can see the reverse of the string is displayed. That means we have done the reversing of the string using a pointer concept. Let us check for one more test case. Suppose the string is welcome to C programming. Then it is also working perfectly. So one or two test cases you always satisfy to check whether your program is working properly or not. So after doing reverse operation, let us go for another operation, another program. Now let us write down a program to reverse the content of the string in the array itself and display it. Okay. Now in the array itself we want to reverse its content and then we have to display it. Okay. This is little bit tricky and we have to use the concept of pointers. So using pointers. Write down the header file #include stdio.h int main and return 0. So after writing this structure, first what do you have to do? First of all, we have to read a string. So let us take one character array str of, let us say 100 or 50 is enough. Okay. Now is equal to, you can read a string or you can directly take. Suppose I am taking the string India. Now declare character pointers star ptr1 comma star ptr2. Why two pointers are required over here? Because we want to exchange the content of this array within the array itself. That means the first character will be copied to the last character, or the address we have to store into ptr1 and ptr2. ptr1 will contain the address of the first character initially. ptr2 will contain the address of the last character. And through their addresses, you can swap or exchange the characters from first character will go to last and last will come to the beginning. Similarly, you can advance the pointers. Pointer 1 will now contain the address of second character and pointer 2 will contain the address of last character minus 1. Then those two characters you have to swap it. So like that, when both the pointers coincide, then we will stop the process, and using pointers it can be handled very easily. Now let us first store the address of ptr1 contains the address of the array. So str, ptr1 is equal to str. Now what ptr2 will contain? ptr2 will contain the address of the last character. So which is nothing but str, which is the base address, plus find out the string length. Find out the string length of the string minus 1. Because we have to exclude the null character, we have to do this process. So this is similar to the previous program. Now ptr2 contains the address of the last character. So let me write here hash include string.h. Okay. Now ptr1 contains the address of the first character, ptr2 contains the address of the last character. Now write down a loop while ptr1 is always, means in the initially ptr1 is less than ptr2. ptr1 contains the address of first character, ptr2 contains the address of last character. So obviously less than condition is satisfied. Now take a temporary variable and swap the content. So let us write star ptr1. So the first character will be moved to temp variable, then star ptr1 is equal to star ptr2, and star ptr2 is equal to temp. So we have exchanged the first and last character. After exchanging the first and last character, let us advance the pointers so that ptr1 will contain the address of second character and ptr2 will be containing the address of its last but one character. So previous character from the last. So with this process, when they will coincide, when ptr1 is not less than ptr2, that means both the addresses are same, then this process will be stopped. Now, after completion of this process, let us check in that array whether the contents are reverse or not. So you can write reverse of the string is percentile s, comma, you can just simply write the array name str, and you have to check that within the string or within the array itself, the string is reversed. Now save the program, reversing string .c, and now run it. So first compile and then run. So compile and run. So you can see here t is undefined. So that's why you are getting error over here. So let us declare the t variable char star t comma this one. Okay. Now we have defined the character. T is a character variable. Now let us run it. Now you can see that the reverse of this string India is displayed. So copy this and paste it in your program. So reverse of this string is displayed over here. Okay. Now let us go for another program using pointers. Program is to print the sum of sum of an integer array using pointer. Suppose there is an integer array, we have to print the sum of all its elements using a pointer concept. So how to do? Let us write as include stdio.h int main and return 0. Okay. Now we need to find out the sum. So let us declare one sum variable which initially contains 0. And we have to do traversing through all the elements of the array. So let us take a counter and let us declare one integer pointer which will store the address of the array. And let us declare one integer array, suppose n of size 5. If you do not write the size, it will take automatically. And let us initialize with some integer values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 5 integers I have taken. Right. Now, first of all, find out what is the size of n. So, let us write counter is equal to size of n. N is the array over here. And store the address of ptr is equal to the starting address of this array. Now, write down a while loop while the counter is greater than 0. What you have to do? Now, find out the sum. Sum is equal to the initial sum is 0 plus the first value which is indicated by the pointer. So, star ptr. Then, if you want, you can print those values also by writing %d, star ptr. Now, advance the pointer by writing ptr plus plus and decrement the counter. So, counter minus minus. So, till counter greater than 0, this loop is going to run. Now, finally, we have to print the sum. So, sum of all integers is %d, the variable sum. Now, let us save the program. Sum of integers dot c. Now, run this program, compile and run. Now, what is the output that you are getting over here? So, we have displayed the content. So, let us first put this into comment line because at present we do not need that. Okay. Now, can you see over here that we are getting some garbage over here? Okay. Now, why you are getting garbage? Let us check it. Sum of integers. Okay. Now here, let us go for if ptr. Okay, let us print the value of counter over here. So printf %d, ctr. Let us check it just by writing like this. So it is showing the size of n is 20 because each integer is 20. Now my loop should run 5 times. So instead of going like this, let us go for another way. That is, let us write down declare one looping variable here, I. Instead of writing like this, we can go for a for loop for I is equal to 0 till I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. Now here, Print those elements, ptr plus plus, and let us remove this. Okay. Now execute this program. Now you can see the answer is coming perfectly. Sum of all integers that you have taken, 5 integers, is 150. Okay. So this way, different applications you can handle using pointers. In this video, we have learned about the basics of pointer and how to deal with pointer programs. We have executed a number of programs using pointer concepts. Thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.